Welcome back to the channel, faithful. I hope everybody's having a blessed day today. Today I want to talk about one thing. What is the one piece that could take the San Francisco 49ers over the top? Do they need a Myles Garrett type move? Or is what the 49ers need actually already sitting on this roster? Let's talk about it. In fact, let's get it. Welcome to the Camman Island Podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Camman. Look, faithful, before we even get started today, I want to take a moment and talk about the tragic passing of Aldon Smith. Only 36 years old, just absolutely heartbreaking. At one point, this man was on top of the football world. When Aldon Smith came into the league, he was absolutely terrorizing opposing quarterbacks. The man had 42 sacks in only 43 games. I want you to think about that. There was a time that folks were talking about Aldon Smith maybe being one of the best pass rushers in NFL history once it was all said and done. And it's a reminder that life can change so quickly. Our thoughts and prayers go out to his family, friends, and everyone who loved him. Just an incredibly sad situation. But faithful, let's transition into today's topic. And I spent a lot of time thinking about this one. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of pushback. I know people are going to say, David, you're crazy. You done bumped your head. The Niners need another superstar. They need a Myles Garrett-esque move. They need a Maxx Crosby. But after looking at this roster, I don't think that they need some type of gigantic blockbuster move to compete for a Super Bowl this year at all. I believe the one piece this football team needs is health. That's it. That's the answer. I know that's not flashy. It's not going to make headlines. It's not going to break the internet. But it's flat out the truth. I want you to think about this. The San Francisco 49ers last season won 12 football games. Okay? 12 football games. Now, I know that Kyle Shanahan, in my opinion, last year, put on a coaching clinic. To me, it was probably one of his best seasons, if not the best season coaching, considering what he had to work with. Robert Saleh was absolutely fantastic. He maximized, I feel, every player, the skeleton crew that was left over. He maximized that talent. And to be honest, maybe we were a 10-win team that was able to pull off 12 wins. Realistically, but at the end of the day, it's the record that matters. 12 games in a season filled with injury after injury to superstar or up-and-coming football players. And let's not forget about something. And I know the absolute mollywop of a loss that we took to Seattle leaves a sour taste in everybody's mouths. I know it does me. But the reality is that the 49ers beat the defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles in their own stadium. That was not easy. That doesn't happen by accident. At the time we played the Eagles, they had the better roster by far, top to bottom. We were a shell of what our football team was at the time we played them. And what I find interesting is that, especially in the trenches, that football team was better. And we still pulled off a victory. So let's talk about why I feel health is the one piece for this football team. Let's think about the defense for a second, if it's healthy. Let's go ahead and start. Mr. Fred Warner is walking through that door. If we could have pulled out a win against Seattle, he probably would have walked through the door in the playoffs last year. Okay? Fred Warner's absolutely the best linebacker in football. Boom. Instant improvement to this football team. Nick Bosa is coming back. And let's be real for a second. I recognize Nick is coming off his third serious knee injury with this ACL. I completely get it. If I were to tear my ACL, I probably wouldn't even walk the same. Nick Bosa, however, is one of the best defensive ends in the world. Okay? Super freakish athlete. They can come back from stuff like this. I know that Nick is going to take care of his body and be ready to go at the start of the season. And if we could just be honest, Nick Bosa on one leg is more pass rushing power than we had last year. Okay? So right off the top, both those guys are coming back. There was one Mr. Dre Greenlaw that's coming back, okay, that should be fully healthy, motivated, angry, ready to prove people wrong, and that changes everything. There were times in 2023 where Fred and Dre were playing so well together. At times, it was hard to tell who was playing better. There were a few games, a few stretches there where I felt where Dre was just as good as if not better at times than Fred was playing. Those two guys feed off of each other. Now I recognize they're a few years older. Absolutely. But it's not like either one of their talents have just absolutely fall off the wagon. That's going to improve the middle of the defense. Us going out and getting a guy like Osi Odigizua, this guy is a massive addition. The guy can flat out play. Another disruptive piece right up front on the interior. Something we could not do at all. We couldn't generate a pass rush at all. But up the middle, flat out non-existent. That is going to change. Let's talk about some of these other guys. I know Mykel Williams is hurt. He may not even be back come week 1. And the thing that hurts about Mykel, you could really see last year he was ascending. When Mykel went down, you could tell we simply could not defend the run like we could when he was in there. And he was trending way up. It's unfortunate that he's going to miss the offseason. But if he can come back and just play at the level he was when he got injured, that's going to be outstanding right there. The potential is obvious. You think about a guy like Alfred Collins. What if he takes another step in the right direction? What about a Nick Martin getting to actually learn by watching on the field a Dre Greenlaw and a Fred Warner? That could be a really big deal. Adding a piece like Romello Height through the draft, this guy's first step is for real. It's serious. It's explosive. What if this guy comes in as advertised? Okay. What about if an Upton Stout improves? He was good last year. What if he realistically improves in year 2? You take the improvement of some of these younger guys, getting more experience, and adding guys like Nick Bosa to help the pass rush, adding a Dre Greenlaw, adding Fred Warner. Instantly, just with health alone, this team is going to be way better defensively than last year. And here's a really bold prediction for you, faithful, and you can write this down. The 49ers will be significantly better in the following areas: sacks, pressures, turnovers. They were dead last year, and it wasn't close. Why? All the injuries. Health is the one piece. And they're going to be doing much better with just this all-pro talent returning, not because of a trade, not because of a splash move, because healthy football players tend to play better than injured football players. So for me, number one piece is health. And pressure really changes everything. If you get more pressure, you get more turnovers. If you get more turnovers, your offense gets more possessions. If your offense gets more possessions, this gives Brock Purdy, CMC, George Kittle, all these weapons on offense, even more opportunities to score. Think about how good the offense played last year with the injuries and less possessions due to the fact that we couldn't get teams off the field on third down because they had 45 minutes to pass the football. Let's take a look at this offense. Let's take a look at the offense, and we apply the one piece, which is health. Mike Evans, Ricky Pearsall, Christian Kirk, Demarcus Robinson, Jacob Cowing, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, Trent Williams, Brock Purdy, Dejon Stribling. Come on, man. That is a loaded roster. Now, I know I say the name Ricky Pearsall, and I'm getting to the point where I roll my eyes at it as well, because when Ricky's been healthy, he showed flashes. If the man can stay on the football field with a Mike Evans, it's hard to imagine because I haven't seen it, but I think that could be a really solid duo. I really do. You think about the offensive line. What if Dominic Pooney takes another step forward? What if Connor Colby develops? Colton McKivitz quietly had a very solid season last year. Trent Williams is still Trent Williams. I don't care that he's a year older. Trent Williams at his age is still, what? The best left tackle in football, possibly? And the NFC. The NFC doesn't scare me as much as everybody's talking about. Chicago, okay? 49ers beat Chicago last year with no defense, okay? Philadelphia. We saw what just happened with that, and they lost A.J. Brown, okay? The Detroit Lions. That team has all the offensive talent in the world, but who knows what Detroit's going to be. Maybe they'll be better and make a return to the playoffs. I'm just saying that's not a team that, man, there's no way the 49ers can beat that football team. So Green Bay, you're going to bet the farm that the 49ers can't compete with Green Bay? Or I just don't see it. I don't. So who are the real threats? Obviously the Los Angeles Rams. They shored up their secondary, which was a problem for them. And they just got the best defensive player in football on their team. That's going to be something serious. The Seahawks, absolutely, they're going to be a danger. They are. So you have the two most scariest teams in the NFC you're going to go to battle with twice each in the division. We're familiar with these football teams. So think about this. Seattle lost their running back, and obviously they were a run-first team. They lost their coordinator. Is Jackson Smith and the Jigba going to have another ridiculous season like he did last year? I'm not sure the odds are exactly in his favor. Every team is going to be extra gunning for them just being the returning Super Bowl champions. And I'm not saying that they're not going to be good. I'm just saying we split with these teams in the regular season. That's typically what's going to happen with all the familiarity between the teams in the first place. So you're looking at, can the 49ers get to the Rams and getting to Seattle in the playoffs healthy? If they are healthy, I really feel like they have a shot in the playoffs against those two football teams. With the roster they have today and health being the one piece, I think they can absolutely compete for a championship. Now, would I still add a piece? Sure, absolutely. Adding talent never hurts. Maxx Crosby, okay? If John Lynch picked up the phone, dropped 2 first-round picks, and we picked up Maxx Crosby, I would not lose any sleep over it, especially if it led to the 49ers winning a Super Bowl. But you think about it, you're talking about multiple first-round picks. He is getting up there in age. And keeping this band together long-term is going to be difficult. Trent Williams, this could realistically, Trent could hang it up. I know what he said. I know he said he's got a couple of more years, but you never know what's going to happen or change a player's mind during the grind of a season. Mike Evans isn't playing forever. This essentially the deal he got's a 1-year deal. They could walk away from that. Christian McCaffrey is not going to be able to continue playing at this level forever. Father Time is undefeated. This could be it for Kyle Juszczyk, and the list goes on and on. So do you want to give up multiple first-round picks that you're going to need in the future to add youth to this roster as these great all-pro guys start retiring or just not having that same burst that they used to have. If I had the opportunity to add a one piece for the San Francisco 49ers, maybe a Kevin Zeitler, a guard that's solid, consistent, that you can add in there if you weren't 100% confident at the guard space, at the development of some of the younger guys or some of the guys that you brought in free agency. Maybe a Joey Bosa, right? A situational pass rusher that wouldn't necessarily break the bank. You have the cap space to more than likely absorb that type of contract, and it wouldn't absolutely destroy you. If I could make like a semi-splash move just for me, because I'd like to get a little bit younger, maybe somebody like a Kayvon Thibodeaux from the Giants, young, explosive guy, fits the timeline. And honestly, you probably could get that done for a third-round pick. Maybe the Giants would fuss and want a second-round pick, but you give up a second-round pick and you get a younger guy that can come in here and help you off of the edge that I think would absolutely benefit the team. Again, it wouldn't be a break-the-bank situation. Final take. Let's recap this thing, okay? The one piece, I feel, is already on the roster if we can just stay healthy. If I were going to add a piece, I would not go out and drop 2 first-round picks and a player for somebody like Maxx Crosby at Max's age. I just don't think we need to do that, especially knowing that we've got some older guys. We've got some folks that we don't know exactly how they're going to be when they come back. It may be the 49ers need to focus on a tight end in the first round next year if for whatever reason George Kittle were to take a full step back after this injury or he just wasn't himself anymore. If I were to add a piece, I would add a solid veteran at a cheaper price tag just so that way you're not stretching yourself super thin. Now, look, come the trade deadline, if this team is looking just absolutely outstanding and you can make one of those shock moves to really put you over the edge because you see you're already doing very well, maybe come that time in the season, if something gets out there and something becomes available, hey, why not take that risk or that gamble then? Faithful, that's the show today. What is your one piece? Is it Maxx Crosby? Would you guys go all in? Let me know what you think in the comments. Remember to like the video. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next content that I drop. And like I said, be sure to tell me what you think in the comments. Until next time, take care, be blessed, and go Niners.